what does the word reconciliation personally means to you?
Reconciliation is a creative process. It is a step in process that begins with storytelling and acknowledgement of a wrong that has been done, proceeds through recognition of the hurt that that wrong has inflicted,
Yes.
continues with the willingness of the victim to forgive, and then is actually activated by the victim and the perpetrator being willing to engage in a process that brings them to a point that they're never able again to impose the hurts that they once imposed. And so that it is a transformation. Reconciliation almost means creating a new reality that didn't exist before.
Yep, I agree. Because when that Mrs. Campen brought the topic towards me, she said, okay, I think you would be the perfect candidate for to interview Reverend Tutu. And I started to think why. And she said, most young people, they deal with trauma in very different ways. And amongst my peers, I'm considered a bit more mature in the aspect that I can accept hurt for what it is, and then I understand that people basically do what they think was right at a given point in time. Doesn't mean that it's correct, but it's just what they felt was right at a certain time. And my biggest trauma that I deal with is the abandonment from my father. Forgive me. And it took me a very, very long time to forgive that because his withdrawal caused a lot of pain growing up with my mom because he was, mainly the breadwinner in the family. So eventually when you shift, it basically changes the entire dynamic of my reality. And it took me a long time to accept that for what it is. But then as I grow older, I understand that, he was basically a child raising a child. So, and he didn't have that fatherly inspiration or that role model. So he basically did what he thought was correct at the time. So it's all about, it's all about basically understanding. I mean, it doesn't change that you endure pain through the process, but if you can be the bigger person and understand, it helps your healing process, you personally, because if you keep on to that pain, then that perpetrator is basically winning.
Mm. Well, yeah, or you're both stuck.
Or you're both stuck. Yes, I agree.
Yes.
Yes. Why do you think it's important that young people incorporate the act of forgiveness into their being?
I think that it's important not only for young people, I think that it's important for all of us to be able to live lives of genuine flourish means that we need to be able to live lives that are truly unburdened, that, to live with hearts that are free and open. And when we carry around a weight of pain or trauma that is unprocessed, because forgiveness really is processing the traumas that we have endured, is working through them to a place where they no longer trigger us, no
Yes.
longer re-inflict a harm on us that has been inflicted. And so we see, not only in young people but in older people who are living with unprocessed trauma,
Yes.
that shows itself in dysfunctional behaviors and shows itself in lashing out on others. So you kind of
Yes.
the misery that you don't process and put away becomes the misery that you start inflicting on
Yes.
those around you. And
Agree.
that's not what we want for ourselves, and it's not what we want for the world as a whole.
Lastly, I would like to ask, what advice can you give millennial during, their lifetime, or specifically the year 2021, after coming out of COVID? It was a time that everyone, basically the world stopped, and everyone had no other choice but to handle everything that they have going on rather than being occupied with work or maybe school or kids. Some people took some time to just sit and think and just accept it and embrace it. So specifically to millennials, and given that you have such great wisdom, what advice can you give to us?
I think the advice is always the same, which is do the next right thing. You don't have to look 6 miles into the future to understand what it is that is needed from you in the present, and there's enough work for you to do in this present moment, and the work of this present moment may just be sitting still. But whatever it is that the present moment offers, the next right thing is the thing that is called for from you.
Okay. Basically, just stay in your own lane, narrow vision, do what you think is right, because the world just needs me or you.
Yes, the world needs you,
Yes,
indeed.
indeed.